This week I discovered another beautiful thing in the Clojure source code, besides all the other thousands of really beautiful things in there. This one I didn't know yet, and it's here in the class var, and var class is responsible whenever you do a def or defin or anything which ends up as clojure variable in the namespace, then this instance of this class represents this variable. And yeah, the great detail here is this static property, and when you look further in the source code, you will also see that ref is incremented, and it's incremented every time, for example, someone binds a variable or swaps it and so on. And this property can really be useful in certain cases. In the next part, I will show how we leverage this. So here's a short demo of this variable. And you see it's now 12,157. And the thing is, every time I define a variable, then this one increases. Same goes for if I just compile the namespace, then the same thing happens. So this is a really great mechanism to reload stuff during development, when you're constantly adding variables or like to just register things in your system. And this is also exactly what we do now. So the most basic use case is when we do register a ring handler. So we do it a bit different. So essentially also before all our ring handlers, we register them top level. So every ring handler is asked if he likes to handle this request, and we have no explicit routing lib in it or so. So I will just say, okay, is the request method get, and is the URI, let's say, use /example, and then we would just return a response. So, and here I would just say example response. And of course, if I compile this, nothing happens. I mean, this number still increases, but if I here do this one, it's just staying this way. Here, in this case, we don't have a proper for page. It's just say not found, but the status code is for. And yeah, just to register this ring handler, I can then do basis ring handler, compile it, and then I get my example response. And all the stuff, how it works, is here in the this handler. It's the main ring handler of our application, and it handles the synchronous and the asynchronous requests. And here I use this util here to get every variable which has this marker in the metadata of the variable. So here I will also find my thing from my demo. So let me do it here like this. Yeah, this one is the one we just registered, and here in our basis library I also you find the code open source. This is the util I wrote this week to find all these variables, which has a metadata marker like this. So you just pass in here the keyword, which should be the marker, and normally, walking all namespaces and all variables, checking the metadata takes quite a bit. So it's not that bad. It's a little bit over 100 milliseconds, but of course for handling ring requests, you don't like to pay the 100 milliseconds on top all the time. So therefore, for this reason, there's a cache. And coming back to our gem that we found in the Clojure source code, this var ref static variable, it's the perfect thing as cache invalidation, because every time you compile something, this variable will increase, and then you can do a full scan next time this util function will be invoked. And yeah, in production and on staging, you usually don't make alter var root or define new variables. So in production and staging systems, they stay the same, and the calls after the first call will always be very fast, and yeah, therefore you don't have to make any differences between do I do development at the moment or I'm on the production thing. And even it could make things possible like loading another jar file which maybe has those markers in it, and then you could even think about loading stuff dynamically like plugins or whatever your application likes to support. And besides this, you can for sure also use the full metadata facilities. So you could, for example, also say, you define the full metadata map, and for example, say, okay, just give me the get requests, or maybe you'll define a path or whatever for your current use case. But yeah, it's pretty nice to just use something which is already there in Clojure, and with the clojure.lang.Var ref here, it could also be made very efficient to find all these marked variables.